What's going on, everybody? I hope all is well. In last week's video, we talked about the differences between playing grooves with either a straight or a swung feel. And today, we're going to put those skills to the test with some swung grooves that are featured in famous songs. So if you missed that last video and you're not familiar with this concept of swinging your beats, I'd pause this and go check that out first. Alright, so we're going to check out a few different genres today, ranging from pop to rock to hip-hop and to funk, just to give you an idea of what's out there with this feel. We're going to kick things off with a groove that's not all that technically challenging, so we can first concentrate on just getting it to swing, which is no easy task at first. This is What I Got by SUBLIME. Now with this speed, along with all the others that we're gonna learn today, it's just not gonna sound right unless you give it the appropriate level of swing. Check it out, I'm gonna play the same beat, but this time I'm gonna start by playing it with a straight feel and then transition to playing it swung. See if you can hear how different they feel. Do you hear how the straight beat is nice and even, while the swung beat has a bounce and gallop to it? That's the magic that makes these beats feel so good, and that's what you want to aim for when you're working on them at home. Alright, next up we have a classic hip-hop style beat. This is Oh My God by A Tribe Called Quest. The key to getting this groove to bounce all lies in the bass drum part. You've got to make sure that you've got the technique necessary to group those doubles on the kick nice and tight and lock them into that triplet grid. And the technique I'm using to pull those quick doubles off is called the slide technique. And if you'd like to learn more about it, I have a video completely devoted to foot technique that I'll link in the description box. Alright, next up we're gonna get into some funk with the godfather of soul, James Brown. This is Funky President by James Brown. This beat has one of my favorite bass drum patterns of all time. It's just super groovy and you hear it all over the place. And again, you gotta make sure that you're swinging that kick pattern hard enough and that you're grouping those doubles nice and tight. Also, you wanna be mindful of the ghost notes on the snare as well. They've gotta fall into that triplet grid and swing just as hard as the kick. Next up, we're gonna keep the funk going and check out a New Jack Swing style groove. This is Finesse by Bruno Mars. One of the toughest aspects of this groove is going to be laying down those ghost notes on the snare consistently while the kick pattern underneath is changing. To practice that, try starting with just your hands and then adding the kick in as you get comfortable. Alright guys, we are moving right along. Up next, we're going to slow it down a bit and go into the world of rock music. This is Scar Tissue by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. This groove has a lot going on. You've got an involved ghost note pattern on the snare, you've got some doubles on the kick, and you've got that open hi-hat, which is going to use your left foot as well. So instead of trying to tackle all of that at once, you want to again just isolate your hands and then add the kick in as it starts to feel good. Next up, let's check out a classic Vinnie Colaiuta pop groove. This is If I Ever Lose My Faith in You by Sting. I do want to point out that Vinnie's actually just playing eighth notes on the hi-hats in this particular recording, and there's this tambourine that's playing those swung 16th notes. But whenever I play this song out live, I like to simulate that tambourine part on the hi-hats to keep that vibe going. And this is a technique that you can use all over the place. Those constant 16th notes give life to any groove that you add them to, plus it gives your band a lot to lock into as well. Alright, our last groove for today is legendary and is performed by none other than Stevie Wonder himself. This is Superstition by Stevie Wonder. This is one of those songs that every drummer has to play out on gigs from time to time, and the groove itself is no joke to pull off. You have this 4 on the floor kick pattern where Stevie adds some doubles in from time to time to give it that bounce, and you have these intricate hi-hat patterns that evolve over the course of the song. And like the last beat, I have my own personal interpretation of this groove that just works for me. As you can see, I like to play the hi-hat part with both of my hands. I found over the years that this approach made the groove a lot easier for me to pull off, and as a result, it just felt better. However, Stevie played the hi-hat pattern with just one hand, which is often how you see the groove taught. I'd suggest trying both ways and just seeing which one works best for you, because at the end of the day, it's really just whatever approach is gonna allow you to get the groove feeling right. Alright everybody, that's gonna do it. I hope you have a great time working on these grooves and playing along to these songs. I'll have the transcription and drum loops for these beats linked down below. Thanks as always for watching and for your continued support. I will see you all next time. You take it easy. Bye-bye.